Tell us your philosophy on subsidies and earmarks.
I would not support any earmark, and I've signed a pledge to that regard. I would work, of course, with the administration to make sure that Florida got, a quote, its fair share. But the first thing I would do in anything else in this, I support fully a balanced budget amendment. I support, no matter Democrat or Republican president, a line item veto. And I support the new idea where we will not get any kind of, first of all, I do not support increasing the debt limit. But if they do cut a deal while I'm not there, they better get the balanced budget amendment and required spending cuts. And again, here's the difference between myself and my opponents, especially Bill Nelson. I've done it. I balanced the budget. I put a spending cap in place. I didn't talk about it or hope for it. I worked with the House members and the senators, and we got this on the ballot, or we passed it. And at the end of the day, I hope you're looking for a United States senator, just like you look for a person you're going to hire on a job. Have you done the heavy lifting? Have you, in essence, in a smaller company, produced results, tangible results, that you would want to see on the national level? So when you talk about entitlements, when you talk about spending, when you talk about curbs in spending, when you talk about taking on Obamacare and getting something done, I'm your guy. Because I've done it, and I've been willing to be in the back row in order to get it done.
There's a budget crunch and you have to reduce spending. Which of these agencies' budgets would you reduce? EPA, DOE, FDA?
Yes. But in all candor, remember what I said before. I think it's very important that we block grant transportation, that we block grant education, that we block grant HHS, meaning specifically Medicaid, and not allow Obamacare to even be instilled. I mean, just think about the numbers, folks. If we increase Medicaid in this state from almost 3 million Floridians to almost 4.5, what do you think that's going to do to the transportation budget that we need? What do you think it's going to do to the education budget, let alone tax cuts we'd like to provide the citizens of the state? This is why it's so important that we move towards block grants. Ronald Reagan was right. And again, it shows respect for the individual states. And if I recall, it was the states that formed the national government, not the other way around. Let's show respect for that. Let's show respect for the 10th Amendment. And that's what I've been fighting for. Again, I had my ticket punched, folks, to Washington. And I chose not to go for my family and for the actions that I took on the Senate floor this year. It was not easy to sit in the back row and be ridiculed for years for being too conservative. I find it incredibly ironic. Some of my opponents are calling me liberal. That's a unique one. But that's the kind of idea, and that's the kind of thing where we may be focused on a common agenda and look to the, not just the rhetoric, but the actions that you all are looking for to lead.
What is your opinion of climate change science?
Not much. Again, if as many scientists you say is happening, as many says it's not happening. I still remember vividly, I think I was in 7th or 8th grade, and I remember getting a science little magazine they handed out, and they said the coming ice age. Do you all remember that? Right? So now it's the other way around. Okay, well, that's nice. But what I'd say is this, is if we're going to have to spend and radically change our lifestyle, it better be an absolute answer. Remember, I teach what they call political science. Okay, it's very unique, okay, to call that a science. It's not mathematics. It's theory. And until that absolute theory takes place. But let's be candid. We're all environmentalists in this way. If you don't take care of your own personal property, the value goes down. Sadly, when you talk about forest fires out west, or you name it, when no one owns the property, the state does, you have environmental calamities like they had in the former Soviet Union, and you have forest fires out west. I believe in private property rights. And those of you who study the Constitution know two things. The Constitution is not an empowering document for government. It's an empowering document for the individual. And it limits the power of government. And the root, the foundation, private property rights. And that's why I'm so concerned with the science that they're putting out in order to create a centralized bureaucratic state, which, by the way, we won the Cold War. Let's start acting like we won the Cold War.
What is the purpose of climate change regulations?
You know, I think a lot of people are good-hearted and they believe some of this. Al Gore truly does. And as I said, some. And as I said, Al Gore. But again, if we're going to make multi-billion, if not multi-trillion-dollar decisions, it better be clear-cut science. Especially when 1 out of 10 Floridians are out of work, and a higher percentage of that are underemployed and are hurting. I mean, half the folks I know have their mortgage upside down. This is no time to invest in something that we do not even know what the dividend might be. We need to invest in America again. And that's why I've said Syria and looking at places like Libya and Afghanistan, let alone Iraq, we can't afford those investments. We've done some good things there. Now it's their time to lift themselves up, just like America did against the British, which we have in every preceding generation. So with that in mind, I'm not a big fan of this, and I think that I'm concerned about when people try to push things like Sharia law, which is probably the next version of their science. I think it's a bad idea.
In attending county commission meetings over the past year, our members have been shocked to discover the implementation of global governance throughout all facets of our local government. Terms such as smart growth, green print, and sustainable development indicate UN-based policies being implemented locally under the general umbrella of Agenda 21. What do you know about Agenda 21?
I only got 90 seconds on Agenda 21, but let me just say this. I don't like it because it's putting more power into the hands of the UN and international law. And I'll tell you what's really shocking to me. It's that Sandra Day O'Connor, I think we all know, of course, she was appointed by President Reagan, first woman to serve in the United States Supreme Court. Yet she started to openly talk about using international law to help with our U.S. Constitution. Excuse me, but the United States Constitution is doing just fine on its own, in my opinion. And so I am very concerned with this Agenda 21. This is, again, a UN push. And candidly, the agenda of the UN does not resemble the United States Constitution. The UN is designed, I think, primarily for world peace and the idea that there's a major action we can push successful efforts, whether it be in Korea and other places. But to use it as a one world government, I think, is a vital mistake. It undercuts the Constitution, which I spoke about earlier. It undercuts property rights. And if you want to invest in green technology, if you think that's a good investment for you personally, well, go ahead and invest your money that way. But to be forced down your throat, no way, no how on my watch.
Are there any conditions under which international law should be considered or applied to the U.S.? For example, gun control, Sharia law, parental rights.
No. Hell no. I use 90 seconds. Now, you got to remember, I'm not only an elected official, I'm a professor. I'm not used to being limited to 90 seconds for anything. But no, I think this is a sad case where you're seeing this radical agenda be attempted to push. And whether it be Sharia law in other countries, even without the majority, what did they start doing? Pushing their agenda. That is so contrary to what America is all about. Again, I don't want to get too philosophical here, but again, you think about what I mentioned before. The struggles we all face in this room. I know how hard it is. We struggle like you did. And to get through this time when it feels like the government's on your throat is unacceptable. And that's why we worked so darn hard this year to balance that budget without raising one dime in taxes or one dime in fees. You just contrast with states like California. They're $25 billion in debt. They're going to raise their taxes by $13 billion. They're going to raise tuition in a state university by 40%. Even Texas, which is doing pretty well on jobs, you got a $26 billion shortfall over 2 years. Forget about Illinois. And I used to live in New York, and they had almost the same population in Florida, and you know what? Their budget is twice as large as ours. We held the line, and I'm proud to say we led that fight with your help this year.
Well, that was our last question. So thank you very much. Thank you, Senator Haridopolis, very much. Now we know what a Haridopolis is.
Barb, you got a second? Representative Hasner, I have a little bit of schedule. He wants to make sure that we're treating all the candidates as far as when he's finished his group is to leave, because he doesn't want like the last few candidates to be able to, stop and commingle with the crowd and he's not getting an opportunity.
Oh, I see. Well, he can come back. Tell him he can come back after, or he can come back in September.
Okay. All right.
I mean, everybody's leaving.
That other person coming,
He's here, so I'm getting ready to let him talk.
now?
Yeah, so,
Before Hasner?
yeah, because we got time. It's 12:02.
Oh, okay.
Hasn't served.
So I'll just let him know that if he wants to stay, the crowd may be filing out quickly, but he's welcome to stay till the end. Because you already left, and Haridopolis is going to.
So he wants to sit and listen to them?
No, he wants to make sure that if I told him, they should leave.
That they can make, that if Mike is
They
here
want to
last.
make sure whoever last isn't going to have the advantage.
Well, we can just tell
them.
McAllister.
Okay, we're treating everyone the same.
We're treating everyone the same.
I just told him I'd clarify that because he asked about it. Okay, so I'll let him know Miller's going on for 15
Tell him that
minutes.
if he wants to be here at, let's see, Mike is talking at what time? It's 2:30, 3:15,
I think so, yeah.
4:45. He's talking 4:45 to 5:30. You tell him if he wants to come back at 5:30.
He can come back.
That everybody's being treated the same.
Yeah.
But the last speaker, we're done. So if he hangs out, we can't control that.
All right, so now Miller's going to go for 15 minutes and then you'll be ready.
No, he's going to go for 5.
For 5, okay.
His name isn't Miller. Okay.